think on my watch it's 10 o'clock. Good morning together. Welcome to this session on jobs and automation monitoring. I'm not fully sure if in the title, in the agenda, Salling was mentioned, but it's actually about job and automation monitoring at Salling. My name is Gerge Spiri. I'm the product owner for job and automation monitoring in Cloud ALM, but also Focus Run and including Solution Manager. Christian is unfortunately not here. Yeah, so he is an IT lead at Salling, and they had an upgrade on the weekend and somehow ran into an issue. Index rebuild was triggered. They did not expect this to happen. Basically, this brought the system down, and he was then basically his manager didn't want to let him go. Not sure if he could do too many things. Actually, I realized that in Cloud ALM because suddenly the production system that I wanted to demo was not delivering data anymore. I was asking him what happened, and he just told me, okay, they had to stop all jobs. And yeah, basically now the system is back again. I will show the tenant, so they are okay to show their tenant. Actually, I was very much looking forward to see a little bit cleaner system than in our internal environment, because sometimes we don't see the issues anymore because there are so many test jobs running, failing, and so on. Now this doesn't look so neat now after the issue that they had, but still very interesting, I think. So Christian was not able to make it, but he provided me the slides, so I will basically take over a little bit of his presentation, but sorry, I'm not going to be able to give the insights that he would be able to give. So let's start. Quickly, basically as an abstract, so job and automation monitoring is a generic infrastructure. We have built it in a way that we can very easily integrate additional job types. And already now we have a lot of different job types. Most of those job types are ABAP based. So if BW process chains, ABAP jobs obviously, S/4HANA application jobs, but also SAP business workflows. So those are coming from the ABAP stack. Those are more easy for us to integrate, and we still need some collaboration with the development teams, but in the end we have an infrastructure. We have additional job types like IRPA jobs and build process automation jobs, and most recently we have actually onboarded the job scheduler service jobs in a customer BTP environment. So it's possible, it's a little bit of effort, little bit of instrumentation effort, which will not be needed in the near future because then we will have a tight integration. Basically, I'm mentioning this because we are constantly adding new products, but interestingly, most of our customers are still, let's say, on-prem, are on ABAP systems. So actually there we have a full coverage and the best functionality, to be honest, and it's nice to demo it. So what is Salling doing in a nutshell? They have actually connected all their productive systems, and they are just feeding Cloud ALM, and they are a little bit in a validation phase with a lot of different applications, so not a lot, maybe 4 different, including job and automation monitoring. And interesting is that they use an external scheduler. So this is really a very interesting situation. Many customers are in this situation. And of course, there's the question, okay, what additional benefit can I get out of Cloud ALM? Or even, can I make a bold decision that I have a central view on everything, and then maybe, why do I pay for an external scheduler? Local scheduling tools exist. Okay, so this session overall will explain a little bit Salling's approach. This would have been Christian's part. I take over. Then I'm going to show a little bit on PowerPoint, the news for those that, let's say, have attended Summit last year or who let's say, would like to have a little bit of what has developed over the last 12 months. But the main focus will then be also to show the application in real life. And as many customers are struggling then basically to go the next step to, let's say, really go live with ticketing and so on, I'm going to speak a little bit about event configuration, what we offer at the moment, and maybe what is soon to come. Okay, so now I take over Christian's part, but just going to go quickly over it. So the first part of the slides is basically what are they doing today without Cloud ALM. So Cloud ALM they have installed, is up and running. We have heard it many times. This is easy to do, actually also easy to feed data into it. And they are basically in an evaluation phase because they aim to replace what they are currently doing. And what is selling overall? It's a Danish food company. They have 60,000 employees, tons of customers. This is not, let's say, relevant, I would say, from the job monitoring perspective, but let's say is a big customer with many, let's say, many systems, a lot of data, and they are actually quite proud on being in close cooperation with SAP, also already on Solution Manager. So 2008, they already embarked on Solution Manager. They use almost everything in Solution Manager. I think on the next slides it will become a little bit more visible. So they use system monitoring, user experience monitoring, integration monitoring, job monitoring, HANA and BI monitoring. They are using Solution Manager's ITSM, work with alerts and so on. So this is basically an important part of their operations tools, but it's not everything. Yeah? So besides Solution Manager, they are also making use of the HANA cockpit and Alpa, which I don't actually know the tool, but it seems to be let's say a tool for generally, let's say, looking at the basis layer. And last but not least, they are using Run My Jobs for scheduling jobs, but also for monitoring jobs. And with this, with these tools, actually, they were quite successful in keeping the unplanned downtime rather low, with a, let's say, trend that is positive. Not sure after this weekend, this year, how it will look like. But sorry, this is very small. It's a slide from him. But basically, what the message is here that they are saying. So Solution Manager monitoring, but also, let's say, KPI-driven insights help them really to improve over time. And they got also somehow awarded that they were best in class with the lowest amount of unplanned downtime. So now, why Cloud ALM? I think they basically started like many customers. Okay, there is something new. Okay, let's spend a little bit of time on it. Which use case looks most promising? I think they started with real user monitoring just to look into it. But quite soon they felt like, okay, good, let's take this a little bit more serious. Because, of course, Solution Manager goes out of maintenance not too far down the road. And of course, there's also a certain cost of operation for Solution Manager, and of course, not only operation, but let's say from the technical perspective, but also to use the tool to maintain things. It's let's say is not, let's say, the high-end product, and so they are looking forward to a new product. And obviously, they also need new monitoring capabilities for the SAP Cloud products, which are, let's say, not perfectly covered with Solution Manager. So what they are aiming for is replace Solution Manager, but on top, replace optimally additional tools that they are currently using, like Dynatrace for end-user monitoring, Jira for implementation tracking by parts of Cloud ALM for implementation. And they are evaluating, not sure if they will go for it, but they are really thinking seriously about, okay, maybe we could use local scheduling and do monitoring with Cloud ALM. So this is just a few screenshots of the UIs in Cloud ALM, which they are looking at. So real user monitoring on the top, integration monitoring down here, And on the left-hand side, I think this is health monitoring. Yeah. And this is the last screen on let's say screenshot from Run My Jobs. It's a job scheduler, but also offers some monitoring capabilities on the top. It can be seen that basically one can see the status of the jobs and runtime, and there are also some dashboards in Run My Jobs. And this is a screenshot from their cloud ALM tenant. One can already see they have a lot of systems connected here. I don't know, not readable, but a lot of ABAP jobs. I will show it later. But just to understand volume-wise, so we speak about 100 on-prem systems. Not all production systems, but it's really a big amount of data. They're actually exceeding the 8 gigabyte, but we are still tolerating this, and yeah, because in the end, we want them really to use it, yeah. And then once they use it and they have optimized also the space consumption, then of course we will need to find a fair usage somehow. Okay, good. So this was Christian. So I switch back to my real me and continue with a few more slides. Hopefully, you still can, let's say, be concentrated, but I just feel like this helps me a little bit to be more structured. In the big system, sometimes you jump back and forth, you more easily lose people. So I have about 5 to 10 slides about important features that have been introduced in the last 12 months. So one of the important features is that you can now centrally switch on and off data collection. So initially you have to activate it, okay, that's a setting in the managed system, but afterwards you have the option to just centrally in Cloud ALM switch on, switch off. Of course, there are some dependencies, so SDPI on the managed system needs to have a certain level, but that is a very convenient thing, of course. Second thing is that you see also in job and automation monitoring the heartbeat status. So this is what I saw on Monday. Ooh, it's red. What happened to the system? Because the application itself still shows data, yeah, but it's of course data before the downtime. So you really need to have a look into this to really understand, is this still up to date and current? A really important step was, and I think this was kind of the final bigger architectural, let's say, building block, is to integrate with integration monitoring. So we are capable now, we are able to receive correlation or persist correlation IDs that also exception monitoring collects, and via this correlation IDs we are able to navigate from an individual job execution that produces errors to the corresponding correlated exception messages that are collected. And in the ABAP environment, this is really neat, really nice. And what is really nice compared to Focus Run is that you don't need to do something outside of job monitoring. So in Focus Run, we have a little bit a weak point that you still have to go to integration monitoring, do some little activation things, which is not nice. Many customers forget it, and then they wonder why are the exceptions not collected. So in Cloud ALM, it's really simple. There is one thing, though, you have to do. So the application log messages are not automatically linked to a job execution. There is a configuration step in the managed system needed, so-called transaction grid. Is again a one-time activity you need to do. Described in the expert portal. So this navigation I can show you in the real system is really nice. Next important thing, and this is also the beauty a little bit of Cloud ALM, and also, let's say, I'm kind of happy to be able to work in a team that has such a strong central governance. So we try really to unite the UIs, and one of the important things also same functionality. So on the UI you see the service availability, and this you see in every application, so also in job monitoring. We have integrated the alerting topic a little bit closer for those that use the monitoring application. We understand that most just want to get notified and so on. But still, if you use the monitoring application, you can then see on job level, okay, is there an open alert or not? And if there is an open alert, you can directly navigate to it. We have onboarded additional product, SAP Build Process Automation jobs. There are actually processes which we are not yet able to display. This was planned for Q4, sorry. Was planned for Q2, was then postponed to Q4. Now it's Q1 24. There's this influence portal now up. So I think if there are customers that need this, it's a good point, to put there a mark. And if more than one customer needs it or 5 customers needs it, I think we can a little bit increase the pressure on the colleagues, because in the end we depend on the colleagues providing us the data. There's not much we can do. Business workflows have been onboarded as well. And this was end of last year, or beginning of this year technically. It's again, let's say, depending on STPI 22 at least. And if you have, let's say, in a cloud environment, you already get it with the basis. Okay. Also an important thing was to provide data to external trend reporting options like Grafana, but also other tools. So it's I put in a link to the Analytics API. Here we are also, let's say, working on providing a little bit more information, richer information, raw data, and so on. But the first steps are done, and we are on our way. One important additional functionality was to introduce on the eventing side the option to event on every job failure. This is sometimes a bit confusing even for long-time customers. The option in Focus Run, I think in Solution Manager probably existed as well. You can have so-called atomic alert and you can have grouped alert. And sometimes it's not really clear to the customers what it really means. Atomic alert is very simple. I mean, you just get everything that fails, you get a notification, but it comes with the downside. The downside is the flooding. And that's why we actually default to group alert. And it's basically meaning that if you get the same error repetitively in a sequence, we group this and there's no new notification. We just, it's the alert is extended. And this makes sense, especially if it's a high frequency job that suddenly starts to fail, but it doesn't make much sense if you have, let's say, a daily job, then you might want to get notified all the time when it fails. Even if it failed yesterday, still failing, I mean, it's okay to get a notification. So this is possible since Q2 23. And this is the last slide to this topic, but an important slide. This is about notification content, so kind of the default mail that you get. In the past, we were a little bit stingy with what we provided. And understood quite quickly that this is actually maybe not really good, because in the end, how would somebody properly understand from the information that we provided what the issue is? So there are 2 weak points, I mean many weak points actually, still we are not perfect, but so you can understand the job name, that's true. In the object detail you see name, Cosmos, output, IDOC, outbound IDOC, but that's it. I mean you get only the time when it was reported, and there can be, of course, a latency until the alert is created. So it's too weak, obviously. And so we decided to provide the run data that of the job that triggered the alert. So you basically then get a little bit of information on the execution status, application status, executable, and most importantly, of course, the exact timestamps. And also the run ID, which is, of course, the most important identifier. This comes with, again, with a little bit of a downside. Obviously, if you have in one alert many job boards, I mean, we need to go for one of them. We take the latest one. But I think in most cases it is good enough. And an important point is in the subject header already. we include the job name. And this is important, of course, if you are receiving in your inbox, maybe you have also defined some rules depending on the job name. You want to, let's say, put it into this inbox or forward it to that person. So that is a neat functionality and opens up a potential for the configuration of events, which I will show you later. Oh, one more slide, sorry. This is about the job scheduling service jobs, so the BTP service that customer can use if he's building his own BTP application. SAP Cloud ALM is using this infrastructure component or service as well. So it can be monitored. A little bit of effort is connected. It's the so-called via the so-called next generation data collection infrastructure. Good, and these are already screenshots from selling system about a week ago. And I'm soon jumping into the system. So just a little bit to pick you up. The application is built in a way that in principle you could replace the central scheduler, because you get all the jobs, you get the partition on service level out of the box, but in fact you have also the option to create so-called favorites for the jobs that you are specifically interested in. I can show this in the system. It's rather simple. You go to the monitoring application, you look at the list of jobs, we apply a filter, and if you like what you see, you just press add to favorite. Then you should still rename it to give a speaking name, but let's say if you launch the application like this, you immediately get on one hand an overview on the services that you have in scope, and on top maybe on important jobs from your perspective. Could be basis jobs, but could also be some business jobs. This is the monitoring view. List of jobs. Also important to understand that we try to group jobs. So in order to, let's say, not to get lost in the executions, especially for jobs that are executed very frequently, we are creating on a higher level groups, and you have the option to drill down. This is nice from the overview perspective. Again, it has a little bit of a downside, that let's say if you had a failure, but now the last execution is good, you won't immediately see it on the overview. So in the overview, this turns then green because we go for the latest execution. We are thinking about maybe to change this to consider all the executions in the time frame, but again, this could have the downside that, okay, now then suddenly everything is red. So if, let's say that's why for important jobs, it is important to activate alerting, because in this case, even if it's green, you would still see there something happened. You should have a look. Good. This is then the integration with the exception monitoring, so a drill down from the execution to the related exceptions. And last but not least, and this is something I cannot show you in Selling system because I don't have a user for the managed systems. And in fact, Selling also did not properly set up their users with the identity provisioning service. Not sure how complicated this is, but they somehow didn't do it. And then, let's say, a logon screen is launched. You can still log on, but it's, of course, not so convenient. You have no direct navigation. But this is, of course, very neat because with Cloud ALM, also we focus on, we don't want to replace the local monitoring tools. This is not our target. Our target is a central monitoring tightly integrated with local monitoring. Good. And last but not least, we try, of course, not to blow up the Calm database, so we aggregate as quickly as possible. We have quite a, let's say, sophisticated logic, slightly different to exception monitoring, where you define how long exceptions are kept depending on the exception type, and then you just say, okay, 3 days whatsoever, or erroneous exceptions. We make it in a way that we say, okay, we keep all executions for 3 days, and then we throw away, but we keep for every job at least 15 executions, so that the monitoring screen kind of offers already some raw data level information. you cannot influence this. So this is how we do it. Alerted executions are also not thrown away. After a while, they are thrown away. So we keep not more than 100 alerted executions. But this is, let's say, kind of hard-coded, but I think it's quite efficient. So you should not have a problem with data volume. Okay. But what do we do? Before we throw away, of course, we aggregate. So we don't want, just to be the heater. we want to give you a little bit of insight also what happened in the past weeks on the runtime and so on, and gives you the option also to understand, is there degradation or not? Okay, and now comes really the exciting part, and I'm a little bit nervous myself because they had this downtime, and it simply doesn't look too pretty. So this is Selling's tenant, maybe just as a proof. Sorry, where is it? How to escape here? Anyway, this is Selling's tenant, you will see. And I launched the application. I had launched it before, so I had set a scope, so I didn't want to include 20 production systems. I just included one production system. It's quite a big one, a business suite, PE0. Included a small one, PG1. And I have defined the favorites that I had explained before. Good. So if we let's keep it first simple. Small system, 29 jobs. That's very small. What do we see? We see that 4 of the jobs, latest execution, have failed. It's actually quite critical, to be honest. 4 of 29. And 1 job has a problem with the application data processing. So let's have a look here. Okay, we see here the watchdog has an issue. It's constantly canceling. And what is the reason? Before doing this, of course, we could also check what is being executed. Okay, it's the watchdog program by this user. And what is the reason? We can click on this icon, and then we have navigated, forward navigated, and no data. Okay, I told you I'm nervous. Not sure why is this now. Okay, good. Maybe we have a latency here. Let's see. No, I don't know. Why is this now not coming? Okay. All right. Let's try it with another one. Just an hour ago it was working, so that's, of course, everybody tells this, but it's true. Okay, let's try it with this one. Okay. So why? So this job seems to have a problem with application data processing. So let's click on the warning, and luckily this navigation works. So the message is not too good, but obviously this job has some kind of problems. Now, IT folks will say, plant retrieve. It's not my business, let's just ignore. It's actually a big challenge. How to manage these automated activities. I didn't actually speak about it, but in the end, what is job and automation monitoring? What is the main motivation for it? We have exception monitoring. We have many capabilities. So job and automation monitoring, let's say the main motivation is that you have a lot of invisible workers, little slaves, running on a regular basis processing data. And what we try to do is basically just to give you the possibility to immediately see if they are all still coming to work, if they did not sign off, they do not fail. And so this is actually in a nutshell, and then obviously if there are some issues, we want to give you some insights into this. So now, of course, the question, who is responsible now for this? And I think, and I hope Selling will understand, hey, we get here a big benefit. Maybe they can speak to business, and then maybe as a next step, at least they can agree on, okay, actually for every job, at least for the important jobs, there should be somebody, a contact, an email address whatsoever. And then maybe we could take this automatically and just send a notification. So this is, let's say, taking away the burden from the IT organization to always do something what they would need to do. Okay, they would present the tool to the business teams and telling them, hey, actually, wouldn't you want to get informed if you have an issue? Okay, good. So let's try it with this system then. Have a small thing. Let me restrict this to the last 12 hours, and you see it is not that beautiful as I wanted it to be for a demo purpose. It is full of issues. So we have at least these jobs here are failing in the production system, and not constantly, but now the latest one failed. And of course, this is not so nice. And oh, okay, internal session terminated with runtime error. Okay. Memory consumption, yeah. So, okay, this is a little bit maybe basis related, maybe not, who knows, yeah, but should not happen in a production environment. I mean, this is not good, yeah. So, okay. What about, or maybe just one thing, runtime. We also say runtime is red. Why is this red? It's not a too intelligent logic, and I'm not too proud of it. So Janko showed, it was really nice. He showed in the real user monitoring, or was it synthetic user monitoring, where they are looking at last 3 weeks data, and then for the given time, they try to understand, is this a normal time or not? This is especially for jobs that run on a constant basis important, because sometimes they have something to do, sometimes not. So you cannot deduct from long run times that it's an issue. But but this one definitely looks a little bit strange. So this was typically running very quickly. It's still not very critical. It's just a 2 minutes thing. But yeah, in the end, it's failing. Okay, so let's look at another one. This is also canceled this morning. Maybe we can see something here on the recurrence, but it has no recurrence. It's probably externally scheduled. So let's see what is the reason here, and maybe it's also, no, it's something different. No matching rule found for audit area. Actually, a lot of bad things happening in the system, yeah, right now. Maybe related to the upgrade, maybe related to the downtime. I don't know, but it's not good. Okay, don't want to spend too much time on this, but what I wanted to, hopefully, what came across, you have here in principle a beautiful visibility, and there is actually no reason not to give this to business as well. And this brings me a little bit to the topic of how to use this tool, not only, let's say, 2-3 people from IT, but in a bigger environment. And I think here we are really under pressure to work with this authorization concept. So Janko mentioned already, we are going to introduce authorization object on landscape manage on a system level. This is definitely important. I mean, why should a business user look into all these jobs from the different systems? And then maybe we can also put on top some additional rules that he maybe can see only jobs that are somehow relevant to him. But when it comes to alert configuration, then it's becoming also very interesting, because we want, of course, to notify possibly not all the time IT, and IT needs to forward this, but we want to directly reach out to business. So how can alerts at the moment be configured? It is a rather basic way. So you have to go for a given service or system, and then you have the option to define an alert. For example, critical execution status. This is the job abort. By default, it's grouped. We call it here at new occurrence. We felt like maybe this is more easy to understand to customers instead of atomic and grouped. And okay, if I'm interested in all, then I can just say, let's not apply a filter and send email to. Yeah, okay, I'm not registered, so I would need to register. I don't want to now spam somebody, but you would need to add this. And let me just save this and let's see how quickly then we get an alert. And as I said in the notification, so you don't need to give a specific name to this event because the job name, the one that failed, will be appended to the notification. And in the alert inbox here itself, it's going to be visible in the object details. So until this is coming, let me go back to the presentation and speak a little bit about the event configuration. So this is a little bit dry PowerPoint. I apologize for this. I have seen so beautiful PowerPoints, but I think still it's interesting. So very simple little example. You have the task to monitor these list of jobs. I don't know, like 10 list of jobs. Luckily, it's always the same person who needs to be notified. Aborts are important for all jobs. Critical application log messages are important only for a subset of the jobs. And the maximum runtime is also important only for a few jobs and is defined as 30 minutes or 60 minutes. So now, how to create alerts or how many alerts. I'm speaking about the as-is situation, and I'm going to give a little outlook that we try to improve this. So number one is rather simple because in the alert, you have to maintain a notification recipient. If it's the same, then in principle, one alert is sufficient. We have the alerts per type. So abort is one alert type. And okay, so all we need to do is we need to restrict to these jobs. So this can be covered with one alert. How about the other one? The critical application log messages, similar. It's just a smaller amount of jobs. Second alert. The third one, since again, all same recipient, same threshold, third alert with a different set of jobs. And last but not least, the fourth alert because of the different threshold. Still 4 alerts to be defined. Not perfect, but okay, possible. So let's say if this is a business group interested in these jobs, interested in these aspects, we would need to create for this business group 4 alerts, but not 40 or something. I saw this at some customers and then you're completely lost. I mean, it's like endless number of alerts per service. Just as a little thought, so here above we see, okay, critical runtime, okay, in the event name, it's maybe not wrong to describe why did I create this alert, because in the end you will look at the list of alerts, so it's good to say, okay, this is the one for the 60-minute threshold, not just runtime exceeded, but this is for the 60-minute threshold, and then specify the job names, and then basically that's it. It's quite quickly done. I mentioned that Salling has already completed the ServiceNow integration. Many colleagues spoke about it, so they want actually then to use it via ServiceNow. So didn't configure any alerts yet. They will need to think about, okay, how to do it. Probably they start with some IT jobs, just again to validate how does it look like, is it reliable, and so on. And then I guess they will do the next step. Okay, just a quick outlook. What is going to come? And this is one important piece here. So I hope that next year, same time, I'm standing here and I'm going to be able to tell you, okay, we have the option to create job groups. And the idea is that we have the so-called business services. In landscape management, you can group systems. So we would use this entity because this entity can also be scope selected. So you can launch an application for a group of systems, for a business service or for several business services. And we can use this entity as a we can append filters to it. So then you could define filters. So, okay, these jobs from these business services are important. And then if we are also able to give a authorization for a given job group, then you could really give it to a business user. So business user has authorization for this business service, which you created, you define the jobs, and then you are sure, okay, he's not going to see anything else. And the nice thing is then not only the application can be used for the business user on a subset of jobs, but we want, of course, to offer also to define alerts on that level. So what does it mean? It basically means that you have automatically all the jobs are relevant for the alerts that you create. You can then maybe exclude for some alerts the jobs. But I think this will be very neat, and this is something I really want to do as quickly as possible next year. So this will be a further big functional improvement. Of course, we are delivering more data to analytical applications and so on. And we are also going to onboard some new products. So I'm really optimistic now with DataSphere. Also with the job scheduler service, we will have next year for sure an integration, and this will open up actually monitoring for a lot of cloud, BTP, cloud-based applications. So basically that's it. I just give it the last try. Maybe an alert was created, I'm not sure, but if not, doesn't really matter. Okay, not yet. All right, good. So I hope you have some takeaway from here. It was worth to sit here and to listen.